Learn more, achieve more. That's the message LinkedIn Learning has for individuals and organizations. Our goal is to help you and your employees discover and learn the skills needed to be productive and successful through a highly personalized, data-driven, engaging learning experience. LinkedIn Learning combines 3 core elements: diverse and high-quality content, personalized curation, and anytime, anywhere convenience. But it begins with content. Our content covers topics employees must have to be successful, and topics organizations need to engage, develop, and retain top talent in today's competitive job market. Courses are taught by industry experts, all with real-world experience. Our business library covers courses on leadership and management, talent management, effective communication, strategy, and career development. Our technology library covers in-demand topics, including programming, infrastructure and operations, data science, and networking that are critical to software engineering and IT managers. Our creative library covers topics for CAD and creative professionals, with an emphasis on design and staying on top of emerging trends and technologies. In addition to our diverse content, unique insights from the world's largest professional network allow us to create a personalized learning experience for you and your employees. With 450 million member profiles and billions of engagements on LinkedIn.com, we have a unique view of how jobs, industries, organizations, and skills continually evolve. With this data, we can identify the skills you and your employees need and deliver expert-led courses to help attain those skills. These same insights also empower managers or L&D professionals to easily identify and recommend the most relevant content to their teams and employees. Today's workforce has more competing demands for their time than ever before. To help make it convenient to learn anytime, anywhere, our mobile apps for Android and iOS allow you and your employees to take our industry experts everywhere, including offline. We're proud of our courses and our platform, but mostly, we're proud that millions of people will acquire the skills needed to be more productive and successful. With LinkedIn Learning, we're introducing a revolution in learning and an evolution of you and your organization.
Maybe you've heard about Adobe's Creative Cloud, but you're still not completely sure what it is. Simply put, it's a whole new way of working and creating, giving you everything you need to do your best work. When you join Creative Cloud, you get all the same state-of-the-art creative tools you've always used and loved. Tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, but they've been completely reinvented to support a more intuitive and connected way of creating. Plus, you have access to brand new tools like Adobe Muse and Edge tools and services for building beautiful modern websites. With one membership, you get every Adobe Creative tool so you can constantly experiment and expand your skills. And the very latest features are always available to you when you're ready to download and install them. Creative Cloud lets you work from anywhere, on any device, wherever you are and with anyone you want. You can sync your files to the cloud to work on them later, access them from another device, or share your files and collaborate with a team. In fact, Creative Cloud was specifically designed to streamline the way creatives work together. You can set up private folders, choose your collaborators, manage versions, and capture all the activity related to your projects, all in one place. And with the integration of Behance, the world's leading creative community, you can showcase your work to millions, get feedback, and get exposure. From right within Photoshop CC, you can post your designs to your Works in Progress portfolio on Behance, and then get instant feedback from your trusted peers. You can also explore and discover the world's best work from leading creatives, peers, and people you know. Behance ProSite is also included with your membership. It's a fully customizable professional online portfolio on your own URL. With ProSite, keeping your portfolio up to date becomes easier than ever. You can also build and publish websites, mobile apps, and iPad applications. It's all included in your membership. Download the creative apps from the cloud to your desktop and use them the same way you always have, whether you're connected to the internet or not. You have a central dashboard to help you keep track of your entire creative universe. Your ideas, files, fonts, colors, settings, and updates and upgrades to your desktop apps, as well as your collaborators and community activity. And you have access to a growing library of tutorials and inspirational content. It's all available in real time wherever you happen to be. Creative Cloud evolves as you evolve and gives you everything you need to keep up, so you can experiment, innovate, and embrace whatever's next. Create now.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another learning event together with LinkedIn Local Philippines and Connected Filipinos. Before we begin, requesting everyone to comment down hashtag Connected Filipinos. With that, we will be giving away business premium subscription. Again, LinkedIn premium subscription and LinkedIn learning subscription to our raffle draw winners, lucky winners. So, yep, once more, about to happen in a few minutes. Let's discover how to leverage LinkedIn to land your career or your dream job. Okay, again, please join our raffle draw. We will be giving away LinkedIn Business Premium subscription, and it has access also to LinkedIn Learning as well. All you have to do is comment down. Again, comment down hashtag connected Filipinos in YouTube, preferably Connected Filipinos. And we are also in YouTube again with digital creatives worldwide. So, again, inviting our friends to join us as well, to join our LinkedIn local group. It's LI Local Philippines Community. Please join us. We're already 8,000 strong. Also, if you're into digital creativity, inviting you to join us in Digital Creatives Philippines. And of course, our public service never stops. We actually have another live stream after this around 9:30 p.m. This time, we're going to inspire the young ones into digital creativity, helping them out appreciate what blending modes is in Photoshop. Yep. Okay, so without further ado, our sharer, we call it sharer because she's going to share her knowledge and hoping she gets to inspire students as well. She's the operations manager of Equus. I hope I'm saying it right. Equus Software and one of the Philippines' top 30 leaders on LinkedIn. Ayan. Let's give a warm welcome, applause to our dear friend, Miss Denise Aquino. Hello, Miss Denise.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Ayan. Hi, 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 and happy to have you back.
Thank you. I think the last one was in 2021, right? And we were talking about something completely different. So I'm very happy, very excited to share about this new topic today.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of urgent because I think recently, diba, it's graduation season.
Definitely. And I know a lot of fresh grads out there or those who are graduating in a few weeks are interested and eager to actually step into the concrete jungle. Diba? May excitement for them to join the corporate world right away. So hopefully we can help them, do that effectively.
Ayan. Question to our viewers, maulan ba sa inyo? Is it also raining on your place? I'm currently in Laguna. It's raining here. How about you, Denise?
I'm actually on the 27th floor of a building in Mandaluyong, so I can see everything, and it's a bit scary. But I'm also noticing we have viewers from everywhere. So tell us about the weather from where you're from. I think we have people in Middle East or in Africa. Imagine that, John Mark.
Ayan, oo. Shout out to Billy Chong. Yep. To Lawrence Pabata who are tuning in LinkedIn. We're
Yes.
actually multi-streaming in different platforms. I think we're also live in Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, and in Facebook. So for Facebook, we have I think more than 20 schools uh, like this one. We're also live in saying hi to our friends in Bicol University. Yep. Hoping you're doing fine there. Yep. So
Yes.
ano ba ang ano daw latest with you, Miss Denise?
Um, a lot of things and nothing. Parang I'm still continuing on my advocacies. I'm very present, very active in women empowerment advocacy. So I'm a volunteer mentor for We Do Global. So we help Southeast Asian women and we mentor them and we
Mm.
try to find opportunities for them. So also I found them on LinkedIn. So I'm going to be talking about that during the presentation. So marami tayong pag-uusapan.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to share din naman your ano no journey on how you applied for work. Same
Yeah,
din the
but
dilemma ng mga tao.
yes. So the good thing about that is I'm not gonna do that, Jean Mark. I have someone. His name is Enrico, who's also going to be sharing his LinkedIn success story. Because I think it's more fitting for someone younger who did this more recently to do that instead of me talking about it, right? Because when I applied for work, it was 8 years, 9 years ago. So maybe that's not the best way to do it anymore.
Oh nga. Now, because you've mentioned about Enrico, yeah, let's bring in one of our guests. Ayan. At I guess also a testimonial to what's about to
Yes.
happen. Yan. Yan. And for our dear viewers to understand more what I guess the techniques are in looking for your or landing your dream job in LinkedIn. So, yep, let me bring over Enrico Fuentes. Good afternoon, Enrico.
Hi, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Denise. Good afternoon, Joe Mark. It's nice meeting you all.
Ayan. Oh, kilalanin
Okay.
na natin si Enrico muna.
Yeah, I think that's a
Enrico,
good
ayun.
idea.
Oo. Enrico, for those who are not familiar with you, who's
Yes.
our newest friend, Enrico?
Yes, so my name is Enrico Fuentes, and I'm currently working as a client support analyst for Workia. So, yeah, I know Denise because I used to work for Equus. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Short, but I think Enrico will be sharing a lot later, so he's
Yeah.
saving that story, John Mark, maybe. But I've known Enrico since 2020, and he's one of the, I think, success stories on LinkedIn as well. So he has a different story. It's not very conventional, and we're gonna be sharing more about that in a bit. John Mark, should we go ahead and get started with the presentation, or do you have more questions for us and before we start?
Yeah, everyone's been waiting for to hear Enrico's journey as well. So, yep. We have a lot of I guess we have a lot of things to learn from you. So, let's get started.
Right. Okay. So thank you for that, John Mark. Thank you for having us and thank you for inviting me again here. The last presentation like I did was in 2021 and I was able to reach out to different people. So for today, we're going to be focused on more on for fresh graduates and college students. So the topic for our presentation is actually from campus to corporate, how to leverage LinkedIn to land your dream job. So we have a few learning objectives for today. So one is discover strategies and techniques to create strong and memorable impression using LinkedIn. Second is we want you to learn how to cultivate and grow your professional network by networking with industry leaders and influencers like Jean-Marc. We also want you to gain insights and into the proven methods on how to leverage LinkedIn to maximize your job search efforts. And fourth, this is actually very important. We want you to get some advice on personal branding and positioning yourself as a standout candidate. So, in my line of work, I always get opportunities to actually talk in career fairs, in panel interviews. I always talk to students, fresh graduates, talk about, different opportunities after school. So, I think there's a big misconception about LinkedIn because I always hear this. People tend to say, Denise, LinkedIn is not for me. I don't have big achievements to share. I don't have a lot of things to say there, and it's only for successful people. I think that's wrong. And that's why I want to start this webinar by actually talking about and focusing on what are the available opportunities on LinkedIn. So first we have learning. So John Mark actually, before the session, there were a few ads about LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning can be free, I think, for your first few months or first few weeks on the platform. And there are opportunities like this, like a webinar that you can just attend online and you won't have to pay anything. So learning is one big thing that people tend to not think about when they think about using LinkedIn. So that's the first one. Second is job search. So job search is obviously a lot of people are doing that, looking at different opportunities. And Rico will be sharing more about job search in a bit. But I think what's important is, you have different options after graduation. So you have, different platforms that you can choose from. Some of them are actually, even international. But with LinkedIn, you have the visibility to actually check how are the employees? Are they posting about the company? What is the culture? And another success story that I can share here really is that in 2021, my sister was able to find a job in Estonia. So she was able to move there. And what she did is she just used LinkedIn with the right keywords. So I feel free to ask more about that. I can also answer some of those questions. Okay, so the third one is networking. Networking is very important to me. So I was telling John Mark earlier about, my advocacies. I'm part of We Do Global, and I found those opportunities to network and learn more about my passions and grow them through LinkedIn. So I'm going to be talking about that more as well. And the fourth one is personal branding. So when you're focused on personal branding on LinkedIn, you're not just going to find jobs, but you can also find different opportunities for yourself. So if you're very good at maybe design, maybe something technical, also, maybe public speaking, there are opportunities like that which will be made available for you through LinkedIn. So speaking of those, as we've mentioned, I have Enrico Fuentes joining us today, and Enrico will be telling you about his own personal success story on LinkedIn. Enrico, when you're ready.
All right. Hi. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Enrico Fuentes, and I'm currently working as a client support analyst in Workia. Yeah, but before I begin, I would like to thank Denise and Sir John Mark for inviting me today to talk about my personal journey on how I was able to land my dream job through LinkedIn. Right. So yeah. So to begin my story, a few years ago, I was in the same shoes as you guys, or some of you guys, and to be honest, I didn't know what to expect after college. I always had that fear where I thought that I may not be good enough for a company to hire me, and even though college teaches us the knowledge and the skills to go through that challenge of looking for a job, it was mostly that fear that made me push myself to prepare and become ready when that time comes. To share with you guys, I graduated college in the year 2020, so that was around 3 years ago, and I took information systems in Mapua, Makati, and I was happy that I was able to survive through college. So throughout school, they would recommend us to start our professional profiles, even though we were still studying, and I remember creating my LinkedIn profile like around 7 years ago. So since I was still in college, it wasn't much really, like it was just my name, my educational background, and my email address that I included in my profile. But I've had that, so it's good to it's good to have the profile set even before you're working. Yeah. So fast forward, then a year or two has passed, and I was able to find an internship job, and I knew that my college days is nearing to an end. So I thought of going back to my LinkedIn profile to update my work experience and include my internship and the skills that I learned from the program. So fast forward again, I was done with my capstone project in college, and I was very optimistic to find a job right before going on stage to receive my diploma. The reason why I wanted to take that challenge of getting work or getting a job before receiving my diploma was that I was already in college for like 6 years, so it was quite a while. But I felt like I was running behind everyone else, and adding that fear that I mentioned earlier that I may not be able to find a job. So the pressure doubled down on me. But like I kept it straight, that if I want to go over my fear, then I want to do something to pass that obstacle. So one night I sat through it. I filled in my details on every job listing platform that was active at that time, and I know that part of the process of looking for a new job is to have a resume ready, like at your disposal. So after going through all the preparations of setting up my professional profile and countless submissions of my CV to different companies or job listings that I was scouring throughout the web and all of that, in the middle of the pandemic, I finally got a job in an IT company, and like on paper, it was perfect. Like it was something that I really wanted, but at that time, like when I started working with them, since the conditions were different from normal, we were going through the pandemic and having so many things going on in my life, I decided to quit my job after a year. Um, and it was sad that I had to leave the company, but before I left, I made sure that I kept in touch with everyone. I followed and connected with the people that I have closely worked with, and gave them endorsements because they deserved it, especially to my mentors and to my managers. So moving on, before I left my first job, I had to be sure of my decisions. I wanted to make sure that when I moved to a different company, that I was working with the right people who had the right skills, and I wanted to know who they are, what is their background, and what is the company like. So I had to do my research, and yeah, I used LinkedIn to do that. before I move in, I always look at when a company has started, especially if the company is something that you have heard for the first time. So it pays to be like extra careful, because who knows, you may end up in a fly by night company and you may, possibly get into trouble without even knowing. And also, like on LinkedIn, I use the people or employee list of a company to check who works there and who started the company, and basically their background. So that's a good thing to know, and that's a good practice to do whenever you're looking into a new company, because you'll never know, there may be fake profiles, or they may be something that's not as true as what you would thought it would be. So it gives you a glimpse of, and of how many people work in that company too, and how long have they been working, and so on and so forth. So yeah, now come last year, I was working my second job, and even though I was employed, I still go into LinkedIn from time to time to check up on random things, because it is a social networking site, and there's more to it than just job listings. So if I want to maybe check up on companies that are currently hiring and all the new job listings and opportunities that comes up, it's a good place to look at product updates and keeping up with the apps and tools that you use on a day-to-day basis. So if you guys use Adobe, it's good to follow Adobe. Well, in my case, I use some music production apps, and I follow, like related those companies that make DAWs and such. So if you guys know about those terms, then yeah, I do that on my personal uh, on my personal side. So yeah, before I left my first job, there was an opportunity that I wanted to take back then, but I didn't have. I mean, sorry, my second job. There was an opportunity that I wanted to take back then, but I didn't have the doors open for me at that time. So while I was scrolling, I saw from a connection of a job listing that an opportunity that I wanted to take back then, and the opportunity that opened up is no other than the current company that I'm currently working in right now, and that is Workia. So just so you guys know, the company that I'm working in, Workia, is a new company that was established by my first company. So Workia is an HR and mobility application that manages, tracks, and analyzes all types of global mobility moves in one place. So if you guys are interested in knowing more about my company, or the company that I'm working with, and the products that they're offering, you can head over to www.workia.com. So it really pays to click on that follow button in your previous company, because not only do you get updates about their posts, about their marketing related content, but you will also get updates about their job listings and news about major updates and such. So there. And now you may wonder, why I decided to quit my second job after leaving my first job, because I've had experiences with them, and Workia, like in general, Workia is a fun company, the company that I'm working in, and I know that the people working and leading Workia, are great people to work with, because I've worked with them before in my first job, and sometimes it's not just about the compensation and the monetary benefits that keeps a person in a company, but it is also the management and how they treat you as an employee. And lastly, the work environment is better here, and I wanted to be part of a startup company or a new company and pioneer the team that I'm currently working in, which is under the client support team. Yeah, and all of that because I followed the company on LinkedIn. I saw the listing. I kept track of the company, and I'm up to date with their postings. So yeah, that concludes my personal story. And then, of course, for the next slide, so what are my advice for fresh grads as a passive LinkedIn user? So, in a way, having a professional profile like LinkedIn shaped my career and my career path, because not only do I get to keep track and share my skills and experiences, but it also is a great way for me to connect with the people that I work with. So, something to keep in mind is that it is worth the effort to improve your profile and utilizing it to your advantage. And even though I'm a passive user of LinkedIn, meaning that I do not actively post stuff on my profile, and I occasionally react and like posts from anyone. So I always make sure to keep my information updated that is relevant to my current work. But in your case, or back when I was in a similar position as you guys, the first thing that I did back then was I updated my education and set my graduate date. to the month that I was graduating. So you can do that because it is expected. You're expected to graduate, and it looks better in case you're actively looking for a new job. Also, I updated my work history to include my internship experience, and I updated my skills and included the relevant skills that I've learned in school and in my internship. And also, while you're at it, on LinkedIn, there's this you can set job alerts to get notified for whenever new listing comes up based on the search term that you have set and included in the job alerts. So in my case, I set my job alerts to alert me of all the business analyst roles at that time since I took up information systems. It's really helpful because you'll be able to know how active companies are whenever they post new listings relating to business analysts, and then it's interesting to see how many come up from time to time, and you get notified. So if ever that you see the company that you would want to work in, you can instantly see it, from your notification. So it's very helpful. And also very important, make sure that your contact info is up to date because there are times when companies and recruiters would contact you directly through phone or through email, and you don't want to miss an opportunity, right? So it's very important that you'd have that updated on your profile. And of course, for the next one is to be responsive, because there are times that I would receive messages from different companies and recruiters for a possible job opportunity, um, but don't ignore them. Like let them know that you can't, but send them a connect request because who knows, they might have an opportunity for you in the future. Even just being a connection in LinkedIn can help a lot. Um, and lastly, I make sure to it that I use LinkedIn to connect with the people. Not only do I connect with the people that I've worked with, or that I met in work, but also with people that I went to school with, or connect with people that I met in events and such. And similar to what I mentioned earlier, having connections pays off. So who knows, you may find an opportunity because you connected with that person in LinkedIn. And yeah, I forgot. And follow the right companies on LinkedIn as well, and not just the companies that you have worked for or you will be working for, but it can also be company pages that you're interested in checking their news and know-hows. So that concludes my tips on how to leverage your LinkedIn profile to land your dream job.
Are you hearing Denise?
Yeah, I think you're on mute. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was chatting away here and I was telling everyone that, some of those tips are actually very practical yet very useful. Especially when you're a fresh grad and you don't usually use, LinkedIn. It's always good to have those reminders, as simple as making your profile public, making sure that your contact info is updated and you don't have those funny emails like before, right? So it needs to be a bit more professional because even though LinkedIn is a social networking site, it's really, a professional networking site. So that makes sense. I think with Enrico's story, a lot of those things are very common. So you will have different options. You would want to kind of test them out and you would like to learn more about new companies. But I would also like to add a few more tips when it comes to using your LinkedIn, but this time from the perspective of a hiring manager or someone who's involved in the recruitment process. So I'm going to start sharing my slide here. All right, so similar to what Enrico mentioned earlier, you have to follow the companies and set job alerts. So when you're using LinkedIn, just like any other tool, you have to be intentional about why you're using, a platform or a tool. So when I say that, think about what are the companies that you want to work for? What are the companies that share the same values as you? And start focusing on them and following them for updates. You can set job alerts, Enrico mentioned that earlier, so that it's easier for you to actually just jump in and see if there's a new opportunity that best suits your skill set. And sometimes it's not readily available, just like what happened to Enrico, but it can happen maybe after a year or so if you're patient enough or if you're really eager and it's really what you want. So, second, optimize your profile. So, similar to resumes or CVs, we often, advise people not to add too many details that are unnecessary. So, when we talk about CVs and resumes, we don't want to see your height, your blood type, all of those things. There's really nothing that it doesn't really add value to your job search. So make sure that what you write and what you add to your LinkedIn is first consistent with your experiences, consistent with the job that you're looking for, and make sure that you have the right information there, especially your contact information. Third one is use LinkedIn search effectively. So this is actually very important. So, a lot of people are using LinkedIn differently, but I think we can all, agree that the search functionality of LinkedIn is very powerful. And when I say that, I gave the example of my sister landing a job in Europe just because she was able to use the right keywords. And I think there was a question even in the chat earlier. She used relocation package for that opportunity, to be honest. And also when you're looking at, the search functionality, think about, what is needed in the position you're applying for. So look at the competencies. So even from different companies, if it's the same job, look at the competencies and make sure that you have the skills and you have the experience in those areas. And also use the search effectively by finding webinars like this that can add value to you and your career, especially with your plans going forward. Step four, interact with the hiring managers and recruiters. So Enrico talked about this: be responsive, be polite, even though you're not really interested in an opportunity, because who knows, they might have something for you in the future, or you might change your mind, right? But there's also nothing wrong with initiating that conversation and saying, hey, I'm interested in this job. I don't think I have the right number of years of experience, but can you walk me through the process? Or do you think my profile can be considered for the job? So there's nothing wrong with doing that as long as you're professional, you're polite, you're friendly, and as long as the topic is actually focused on, the job posting that they published. So number five, be active on LinkedIn and network. So when I say be active on LinkedIn, sort of like Enrico was talking about earlier, he was more passive. He's not posting anything. He's not commenting on posts as well. He's not sharing anything, but he was still there and he was making use of LinkedIn to its best potential in a way. um and you can do that as well, but if you're more aggressive, you can also make sure you talk to the right people, follow the right influencers, and look for the different opportunities that you have, and you can comment and just um make sure that you're making connections with people you don't usually talk to. Yeah, so I think those are the five things from a hiring perspectives, from a hiring manager's perspective, that I wanted to share. And I think we're down to our challenge. So for today's, you know, session, I know it's very short, but at least you get to have like the recruiter's perspective and also, a fresh grad's perspective. So after this webinar, I invite everyone to actually update your LinkedIn profile, make sure it's optimized, add your skills, make sure you have the job alerts, and you can send me a message once you're done with that, and I can give you an endorsement if I'm happy with your profile. John Mark, Enrico, anything to add?
Yeah. Not at the moment.
John Mark, do you think
Yeah.
it still applies to our generation?
Yeah, it is. And lucky for me as well. I'm an engineer, but I'm also am aware of the IT stuff. So the one that hit me the most as well is about SEO. I'm sure some of you out there are familiar with SEO, search engine optimization. And I recall I met someone who's a background checker. Her job is simply to do background check. And I realize about that is some companies treat you as negatively if you're not searchable on the internet. So For me, my understanding of LinkedIn as well is it's a database, right, Miss Denise? Are you
Yes.
utilizing? I forgot the feature of LinkedIn to search for talent.
LinkedIn Recruiter, yes. That's why it's very important that you add your skills, you add your availability, and you know those open to work like icons, right, in the pictures. You can even hide that. So you have that option, like what I've said earlier. Just tell everyone that you're open to work, open to providing services. So for engineers like you, John Mark, I think it's also important that if you're doing projects, right, you have that open so people can reach out to you and you can actually invite them without doing anything directly.
Tama, Enrico, no? Search engine optimization. The next uh, parang term to that is keywords.
Yes,
Yes.
keywords.
Yeah. And
So
parang,
I go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
And sabi sa akin, on your, it's important as well, I think on the first, I forgot what that, on your profile, yung, what do you call that? The description, about page, about section. You should as
Yes.
well fill it out or fill it in with keywords that you're targeting with.
Right. So you have the summary, right? So I think my summary right now is operations manager, top 30 leaders on LinkedIn. So if they're looking for someone with the same experience, it will be easier for recruiters to search for you. And I think you're right, Jean Mark. Some companies when they do background checks, personally in my experience when it comes to recruitment process, I usually look at LinkedIn profiles before the interview. So I'm always advising people, like what I've mentioned, it needs to be consistent. If you say in your resume that you have 10 years of experience doing this job, don't say on LinkedIn that you only have 2 months, because I'm definitely going to ask about that. And it sounds silly because you have to maintain two platforms, but I always look at LinkedIn first because that's your public profile. That's what you want others to see. And that's what you want others to think about when they talk to you. And it works both ways. So I think for Enrico, even though he didn't mention this during the interview process, he would look at his interviewer and say, "Oh, John Mark will be interviewing me. He likes these things. Maybe we can talk about this during the interview," so that it also helps you with your nervousness. You will be more calm. You will be more prepared for your interview.
Yeah. And I guess a thing that's very important, I think, as well is using it to search effectively.
Yes. Yeah, so Jean Mark, like for example, people found you in this platform, right? And they found this great community, which is LinkedIn Local Philippines. And this community is providing free education to different members of LinkedIn, whether or not they're in the Philippines. And there are different offerings, right? So sometimes we can't afford to study about SQL, study about something more technical. But in LinkedIn, there's always something valuable that you can get out of it, sort of like these webinars that you're doing. And also, LinkedIn Learning can be free for the first few weeks, I think, and they can even join your raffle here so that they can have access to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me share another din pala from the thing that I've learned throughout the years on that search effectively. I don't know if you're seeing my screen. Are you all
We are
seeing my
seeing your
screen?
screen, yes, from campus to corporate, yes.
Hindi yan. Ito na. Oo.
Okay.
Again, we go back to optimize your profile and SEO. So I made the search. For example, I would like to have a job about graphic. I would like to be in the graphic arts industry. So these are some of the quick search I made. The keyword
Hmm.
would probably be graphic artist Philippines and
Yes.
LinkedIn. And of course, this is the fruits of that labor on optimizing SEO right off the bat, 'di ba? We're seeing that uh, search. And from here, I can use this as a reference for myself as well if I'm uh, would like to have a job in the graphics design industry. So I think someone also mentioned here, Miss Denise, about From Billy Chong, what would be the best keywords to take an example of information technology sector? What are your thoughts on this? Also, with you, Enrico.
Yeah, yeah. I think I mentioned earlier that when I was looking for a business analyst job, since it was associated or relevant to my degree, right? So I used business analyst as it is on my job search or job alerts filter, and it was effective because I was getting job alerts uh, that are relevant to my course. So yeah, you can use it as is. But otherwise, if you have something like specific to maybe a type of like, for example, if you want to look for a part-time job, I think that works as well. As I tried that before, you can like put in like like a keyword of like part-time or a full-time job or a contractor. So it really depends. But on with my experience, I've used business analyst and it worked well.
Right. Additionally, Enrico, I think one of the trends right now is people are looking for remote jobs. So they can use that as a filter when they're searching. So is it remote? Is relocation package available? Sort of what my sister did last year. So she was in the Philippines, looking for companies that can sponsor her to move to another location. So she used the keyword relocation package and she worked her way from there, from the results there. So she filtered that down and looked at financial technology companies, and then she was able to land the perfect, opportunity for her. So yeah, I think a lot of those things are very important. And when John Mark mentioned something about, the graphic artist opportunity, SEO. So when you look at those postings, when you look at those job opportunities on LinkedIn, I also encourage everyone to look at the competencies and the skills. So if you don't have some of those skills, LinkedIn can also be a platform where you can use, learning materials to actually match your skills. And LinkedIn Learning even issues like certifications as well, that you can use and add to your profile. And additionally, in your profile, when we use LinkedIn Recruiter, we look at the skills. So Enrico was mentioning earlier that you have to have, different skills added to your profile, but you can also start endorsing people that you've worked with or people that you studied with in college, or people that you've worked on projects with, to actually endorse them. They will endorse you so that it's easier for you to solidify your level of skills in those areas.
Ayan, we have another question from here. To you, Miss Denise. When did you discovered LinkedIn, and when ka naging talaga seriously active? When ka naging
Okay.
seriously active?
So I think this story is very funny because I was one of those people who are quite hesitant to use LinkedIn before. I didn't consider myself successful. I'm just a normal employee. Why would I use LinkedIn? I have nothing to share. I don't have any awards or achievements to share. So in 2020, when at the start of the pandemic, I think one of my goals was to grow the team in the Philippines. And because of that, I had to learn from other people who are doing it for the first time during the pandemic, because everyone's on lockdown. When I met Enrico in 2020, I was fortunate to meet him in person first, but after Enrico, all of the people that we hired, I have to meet online. So I started using LinkedIn as an observer, like following different influencer, thinking about, their strategies. Will that work for me as well? And that also encouraged me to give back to the community by sharing some of my experiences that worked as well. So I started posting activities. I started posting, strategies. I started, even promoting jobs that are available in our organization through LinkedIn. And it has been very successful. And I think that's the power and magic of LinkedIn. Sometimes, even as a passive user, sort of what Enrico was explaining, there's value that you can have from that platform, depending on how you use it, really.
Ayan. Someone's requesting po for you to share back the slide daw, the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, para
Okay.
ma-reiterate sa amin daw visually yung steps na yon. Para gusto
All
ata
right.
ng mga tao dito, himay-himayin natin ulit eh.
Oh, sige. Okay, we can actually do that. Um Sige. So I think the first one was quite high level when we were talking about it. So from a recruiter or hiring manager's perspective, obviously we would want you to be prepared. So step one is follow the company. What is the company all about, right? So I know a lot of candidates, sort of what Enrico was saying, you're eager to land a job right away. I want to be the first one in our batch to find a job. So you would randomly apply to different companies. And when you show up to your interview, you don't really know anything about that company. So it's going to be a problem if you do that. So you have to focus, follow the company, learn about the company, and make sure you have job alerts. So, for example, I'm keen on getting hired in LinkedIn Local Philippines. This organization, I love it. You know, there's no open job positions right now, but I continue following this organization, and maybe eventually you'll have something. So when I have a job alert, I'll be the first to know. I'll be applying to that. I can see your movement. So when you ask me, why are you interested in this company, then I can explain it authentically, right? So I'm not just going to say, oh, because I'm looking for a job, but because, we share the same values, I like the vision of the company, you know, I can explain really about, my intentions. So that's the first step. Any questions there, John Mark, Enrico, or anything that you guys want to add?
Yung mga tao sa likod ko is asking naman, how did
Sure.
you end up with Equus? What happened daw? How were you hired? What strategy did you do daw? Or
So
they
this
headhunted for you?
no, this is a long time ago, John Mark. So I don't think my story will match our topic today. And I don't really want to out my age, but that's LinkedIn wasn't that big at that time. So that's why we're
Ah.
using Enrico's experience here. But second, if this happened right now, step two really is optimize your profile. When I say that, I mean that in a way that you're not adding too much information that's not needed. And you're also
Mm.
targeting the right job. So remember, step one, follow the company, have those job alerts so that you know that if you're looking for a business analyst position, that's the focus of your profile, not anything else. So you might have other social media platforms like Instagram showcasing your fashion or showcasing your you know, other initiatives outside work. But if you're targeting for a business analyst position, then you should make sure that you have the right skills, you have the right certifications. Again, certifications you don't usually need to spend for those. And you have the right banner, you have the right background as well, and never ever be shy about posting your internship experience there because it's part of your work experience as a fresh grad. So that's step two. So I'm gonna stop there and ask again. Any other things that you guys want to add?
Optimize your hindi, Bem, there's another question here. I think ako, parang for me, I feel this is a sort of mentor ba, tama? How can you utilize LinkedIn's career advice feature to seek guidance from experienced professional? Ooh. Do you have unsolicited ano din ba? Message from someone seeking advice to you, Miss Denise?
Yes. So I get that all the time. John Mark, I don't know if it's because of my experience and my advocacies, but as you know, I'm a volunteer mentor and I've been very vocal about that in LinkedIn. I think there's a feature in LinkedIn, but that might be for those who are paying the Prime subscription that can, help you connect with other people. But if you're doing that and you don't really know the person yet, I think it's just a matter of making sure that you're giving them the right context. So whenever I get people, messaging me saying, Denise, can you give me advice on this because of this? So I think what's important is you make the other person understand that you value their opinion, you value their advice because of their experience, and you're not just messaging 10 random people to get their attention, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Do you also get
uh-huh.
that, John Mark? Do you get people reaching out to you and asking you for advice?
Hindi gano'n. Hindi, of course, hindi ka pareho sa'yo.
Well, I'm sure more technical, right? Like what you're doing with webinars and also podcasts. So I mean, what's the best approach? For example, if Enrico would reach out to you, how do you want that to happen?
If, well, ang una kong ginagawa, I've been helping, Virginia Bautista a lot, eh. So
Okay.
I'm sending my past our past webinar with her on how to
Mhm.
optimize your LinkedIn profile. Yun agad yung ginagawa ko. So hoping after this live stream I get to always naman forward the replay of this webinar to someone asking advice from me kasi parang dalawa eh, dalawang
Okay.
makukuha niya. Ako sa akin moving forward tsaka sa din, 'di ba?
Okay. So it's more sharing the resources that
Sharing.
you have. Yes. Okay.
Oo.
Okay. Sounds
But of
good.
course, kung kapareho kami talaga, kung mechanical design engineering ang gusto niya, of course, iba yung attack ko sa kanya pa. But in general, I'll refer them to someone who's, I guess, a bit more, syempre, yung talagang expert or guru on that field.
Right, right. So I think the message for everyone who's watching is actually very clear. You can reach out to certain
Anyone,
people,
no?
but just do it, professionally, do it politely, and make sure you provide context in your messages, right? So yes. So I think we can. Do you have another question, John Mark, or do we go to step four, interacting? Because I think that's somehow connected.
Iba to eh. Or pwede na ba nating sagutin agad to? Kunyari, commercial break. Or
Yes.
pang 5 to pang 5? Pang step 5 to, 'di ba? Oh,
Yeah, it looks like pang step five, but
pang step 5.
either ways, I think we can answer naman. Um, so I think for step four muna, since it's connected, interacting, reaching out. So again, be polite, be professional, and I wouldn't stop, I wouldn't really, you know discourage you from reaching out to someone, especially if they posted a job opportunity and you might be lacking 1 year or 6 months of experience. I would say reach out to the hiring manager or the recruiter and start asking questions and talk about the possibility maybe they have other opportunities open to you for your level. I think that will be a good discussion as well. Or if you have any concerns or questions about the job posting, it's also good to interact through probably private messages first to get to know more about the organization or the job that you're applying to. So with Enrico, I think, Enrico, you did this, right? But after you left your first job and you were working on your second job,
Yes, that's correct.
so he reached out to us to Workia, and he found out more details about what the new job is all about, and he got the confirmation that it fits him well. So that's how it actually started again with him.
Oh. Oo nga, let's have, Enrico's participation again. Ako, question ko kay Enrico.
Yes.
So, kung wala kang work ngayon, if you will start all over and
Mhm.
you're targeting a company, what would be that company? Kunyari lang, kunyari lang.
Well, walang company, like no specific company, but I guess what I'll be searching for is something that I'm comfortable. Yung skill set ko would definitely be something that I have to consider when I'm gonna be when I'll be looking for a new job. So um, no, I don't really have a choice. I don't really have anything like to pick. I don't have any like a list of companies that I want to work in, but if like the role is similar to my current role as a business analyst and client support, then anything that would work for me. And of course, I'll be doing the same thing that I always do. I will look into the company, I'll look into the background, and of course, like look into the people who are working in that company. Then that's my process. If ever that I don't have a job right now and I'm going to be looking for one, so that's the basic my thought process of me looking for a new job. So yeah.
I actually want to add to that, Jean Marc. One of the things that I encourage people to do as well is if you look or if you follow a leader or like a manager on LinkedIn, um, and you imagine yourself working well with that person, then maybe you can also target that company that person is working for. because you might gain, experience by doing that. And with people, they're more transparent about their leadership style, and if you feel like you're going to work well with that person, then why not, right? Like, why not take a chance and actually get to know more about the organization that that person is currently working for. And I think that's very important for fresh grads, because they're looking for, sort of direction, the vision, opportunities. And if you see like a leader who's very strong in one industry, then why not?
Ah, yeah. I hope everyone's seeing my screen again.
Yes.
'Di ba, kanina topic natin sige, here's my thoughts naman, what I learned with the saying interacting with the hiring managers and recruiters. Actually, ako Miss Denise, when I started with LinkedIn, ah, I connected with tons of recruiters. So, on my first 5 years ata with LinkedIn, parang 90% of my connections are all recruiters. I made friends with them. And the funny thing
Okay.
there as well, Enrico, is pag naging tropa mo na sila, actually they will be the one who will say, "Hey Enrico, may opening dito sa ganito ganyan. Check out mo, pre." So ganun yung unang nangyari sa akin. So puro wala akong mga friends na iba, yung mga classmates ko, puro mga recruiters lang, Miss Denise. And then afterwards, saka ko lang nag-move out sa mga industry naman, industry leaders and engineering managers. So when they're saying, ano ba 'to? Kita niyo na ba yung screen ko? Ah,
I think earlier you were sharing LinkedIn.
mm.
I think it's loading again right now.
Oo nga. Yan. Pero one thing I've learned, sana nakikita niyo yun. Ayan, nakikita niyo
Yeah,
na
it's
ba?
back.
Oh, this is the thing that I've learned when they say interacting with the hiring manager. For example, I think Enrico mentioned about DAW. What do you use, Enrico? Is it Pro Tools or FL Studio?
FL
Or
Studio, yes. FL Studio 21.
FL Studio. Okay. Because I'm also a musician, I'm familiar with Pro Tools, 'di ba? Mas pro 'yon, 'di ba? So for
Yeah.
example, I guess siguro makaka-relate dito yung iba, no? May iba kasi sa atin na meron talaga, Miss Denise, 'di ba, yung dream company.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. So this, I guess, tama, no? Interacting with the hiring managers and recruiters. So previously, when I still don't have that premium subscription, I'll go and head down to, here's a technica, Avid HR manager, LinkedIn, right? So ito yung technique ko dati. 'Di ba? So
Um,
lalabas na po lahat, 'di ba? The
right.
search results would come in, it may probably be G, Lara, or I don't know. But definitely I'll be connecting with her, 'di
Mm-hmm.
ba? Lahat 'yan, hahuntingin ko 'yan. And then of course, when they say follow the companies, it's always I do find the diligence and time to search for G Lara on Facebook as well for me to craft my personal connection invite.
Right,
Tama
right.
ba tekniko, Miss Denise?
So that falls under yung what we were talking about, to stay professional but also polite, getting to know them. And also, I think, John Mark, if you go back to your tab with Avid on LinkedIn, there you go. I think if you follow that, you will be able to see people as well and
Mm,
different
mm.
jobs. So that can be an easier, search option for you as well, to just look at the hiring managers, look at the recruiters who's actually hiring for this, because some job posts will say this person will report directly to this person. So you will have an idea on who will be your future manager. So it's always good to look at those things and make
Yeah.
that initial message personal. So you're not just targeting everyone with a,
Yeah.
generic message. Yes.
So for me, hindi kasi lahat merong ano eh, may premium eh. So that's why
Okay.
I
Yes.
opted to use ano muna, Google search. Pero
Sige,
yan
sige, of
guys,
course.
the technique would be, my technique would be, so searching them out, I will connect to them, find out about, for example, if G Lara is the same or plays guitar, 'di ba? If I saw her Facebook profile, she plays guitar and I play guitar too, 'di ba? Parang 'di ba mahalaga yung people buy from someone they trust. And dun yung connections, Miss Denise, 'di ba? I'll craft
Yung
my message to include na, "Hi, Miss G, Lara, sharing the same interest with you in human capital management and guitar." 'Di ba? Mas enticing siguro naman yun, 'di ba? I would like to connect with you via LinkedIn. So that first step would be, again, I'm hunting down recruiters or HR. The next step would be what I do dati, I'll be digging into naman, for example, if the one who will probably doing the interview is the engineering manager. I'll be making a search on engineering manager Avid, 'di ba? LinkedIn. Okay? And from here, eto na po yung technique. Ah, I'll be connecting with the man with the hindi to taga-Avid eh, pero I'll be digging in deeper kung sino yung engineering manager. So that engineering manager is the Enrico, 'di ba? The hiring manager possibly, 'di ba?
Yes.
And at times I get to hit that person talaga eh. So I will boost up my profile para makita niya ah, na possibly, minsan kasi ang nangyayari most of the time is, Denise, sasabihin nung engineering manager, "Hey, oo nga pala, meron kaming hiring." 'Di ba? You may want to forward your resume. So ang maganda do'n, Enrico, 'di ba? Kausap ko na ngayon at alam ko na kung sino yung hiring manager, 'di ba? And the good thing about
right.
that as well, ang kaya napakahalaga, I think this is also a technique on why I prefer studying to different schools, Miss Denise, is yung 'pag nahuli na natin yung if we both are studying in AGSB or I found out that he's also a Mapuan, Enrico, yari na yan. I call that icing on the cake because now he's the hiring manager. Now we're both schoolmates. And on the interview, it will all be storytelling na lang, kwentuhan. Hello, nandiyan pa ba si sir yung dating prof ko sa ano? Unlike you, doesn't have the diligence to do background investigation. Pag technical yan, especially sa amin ni Enrico, Miss Denise, sa interview mangyayari technical eh, pero 'pag na-gets mo na ka-schoolmate mo siya or ka-org mo siya sa Rotary or Lions Club, parang more on ano na lang eh, kwentuhan at palagayan na lang ng loob. So, I think that's one of the techniques I would like to share that I've discovered so far throughout the years.
Right. And nowadays, just to add to that, John Mark, when it comes to interviewing, it always has to be two-way, right? The
Yeah.
company wants to find out more about you, but you also need to find out more about the company. So by doing that, by doing your research beforehand, you'll be able to prepare the questions that you want to ask, right? So and nowadays, recruiters would send you details about your interviewer as well. So look for that person, make sure you're prepared, make sure that you actually, simple things like mentioning his name, pronouncing that properly if it's the first time, because you don't want to be rude in that interview. And again, going back to the company profile as well, when we're talking about company profile, of course, as a fresh grad, you will be applying to maybe 10 different companies. But if the hiring or the recruiter will always ask you, why are you interested in this company? And you can't answer, it's not going to be good for you. So you always have to do your research for before doing those things. And when it comes to technical people like you and Enrico, LinkedIn is also very, very important, because sometimes even when you studied SQL in school or HTML or whatever, coding language that you have, you still have to review for a technical test. And there are so many materials on LinkedIn as well that you can use just to be ready for that, step of the interview process as well.
May nagtatanong din dito, Miss Denise. Have you ever been retrenched daw?
Never, no.
Good for you po.
No. Yeah, a lot of people are posting layoffs, right? Nowadays, especially in the
Mm.
US, they're reaching out, they're using their network, which I think is very powerful, because if you've worked with people in the past, they wouldn't really remember or realize that they need you in the company not until they see that post that you're actually open to work. So I'm not against that. And I think it's also a good networking tool. Sometimes you have to pay it forward. And a lot of what we do in LinkedIn is actually matchmaking, right? Like, for example, this platform, we're doing a lot of webinars for educational purposes, and I would know someone who's actually good at that. I would reach out to John Mark and say, let's do this with this person. So it's not just jobs, but different opportunities as well.
Aha, eto pa. Ano daw, what was your most memorable moment sa job interview? Do you have such, Miss Denise? And Enrico, ikaw din.
I think I can
Memorable.
I think I can share something about me as an interviewer. So memorable
Pwede.
experience would be someone who thought that he's going for an interview for a different company and a different job. And he
Ah,
was with me face to face. And that's what I was saying. Always prepare, always read your emails, always research about the company, because that person was, I think, uh, this was way, way back, probably a decade ago. He was hoping to get like more on engineering job, and what we're offering was an online English teacher position. And I'm like, you're in the wrong place right now. And it was a bit embarrassing for both of us, because I was asking him questions about his language skills, his experience in teaching, and he said like those things are not important for the job that he's applying for. And that was awkward. So I always remind people, it can happen. I didn't think that it will happen to me, but it did happen to me as an interviewer. But you can avoid that by doing your research, and all the information right now are just one click away anyway. And compared to other platforms, I think with LinkedIn there's more visibility, because even when the company is saying that, hey, we have this great culture in the workplace, but if their employees, you can notice that they're leaving every 2 months or 3 months, then maybe you have to consider if they're actually telling you the truth, right? How about you,
yeah.
Enrico?
Ikaw,
What's your experience? Go ahead.
memorable.
Well, I don't have many experiences with job interviews and such, but from I guess the most memorable that I had experience was I guess 2 years ago or probably a year ago. There okay, so I applied in this in this I don't know how to describe it, like the biggest search engine company. So I applied to them, and like before, you would try to you would overthink like what would they ask you and this and that. So to my surprise, when I applied to that company, like they were asking questions that are not too technical, and it was basically like very personal questions and like fit to to my experience and to my resume. It's not even, and they're not even questions like they would that you would think that they would ask like coding questions or questions about process. No, it's like very it's very casual in a sense where I think they're trying to gauge you on your personality and not really on like the technical skills that you've had. But there are questions that are somewhat technical, but all the like most of the time they're trying to gauge you on how you'll be able to write and to speak to them, to communicate. So I think that's the most memorable experience that I've had, and like I've always thought that it would always be something that is related to like the work, especially coming from a company as big as that. So ever since that day, like to me, I thought that it's not all the time that you will be having to you will be facing that type of problems or questions, but sometimes you would not expect that it will be those as easy as that. But I didn't get the job maybe because they were considering something else. But yeah, I mean that was like mind changing. Yeah.
Ayan. Well, for me, ayan, paano naman daw ako? Well, for me,
Of course, Jomar.
definitely the memorable from me, I think, is I was late on an interview. It's with a Korean company. The funny thing there, I was late because when I left the house, I thought I lost the keys to the house. But after 15 minutes, nasa ano ko pala, nasa pocket ko talaga. So it was not meant to be. And the funny thing there, so I was late, I arrived late. Tapos the question, Enrico, was tell us something about yourself. And nakalinya kami, there are three tables. So yung isang i-interview ka-row ko din. So tigse-separate kami ng table. So maririnig mo yung sagot niya at saka sagot ko maririnig ng isa't isa kaharap sa kabilang parte ng yung mga Koreans. So of course, definitely late. Ayan. I learned that the hard way din. Late. Yun ang unang-unang sinabi nila. Nakalista pala, Miss Denise.
Yes.
Sinabi sa akin, why are you late? So rinig din nung dalawa na kasama ko na pareho kaming interview. Ayan. Alam na this,
Oh.
uwi ako na sayang yung pamasahe at oras. So,
Yeah, I think we can all learn a thing or two, especially in the Philippines, right? We cannot really predict if the weather is gonna be bad, the traffic is gonna be bad, so there's always that. And I think for Korean companies, because I also worked for one in the past, they're very strict when it comes to time. And
mm.
that's one of the things that you have to research about and you have to know about before, actually attending the interview process as well.
And job searching really is an adventure. Mas lalo na if you're into if you're an engineer siguro, 'di ba? Kasi sa malalayong lugar, you have to find it out for yourself. You have to know where the direction is to look for maps. So, yeah, it's very fun.
Yes, yeah, I think so. We have a question I think that popped up, John Mark.
Ayan, from Marilyn. Hmm.
Yeah, I think I can think of one. One of the things that I'm noticing with people nowadays, especially with AI, when they attend interviews, you would hear, very eloquent, very well put together answers to questions. But when I start digging and asking them follow up questions, that's when they start kind of panicking and stuttering. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using different tools to, uplift your chances of getting a job. But I think if you're using AI to help you craft your answers, you have to make sure that it's yours. And when I say that it's yours, you have to understand what you're saying. You have to make it authentic and related to your own personal experiences because the recruiter or the hiring manager will ask additional questions for sure. What does that mean? Can you give me examples of that? And if you're not prepared to answer those questions, the first answer that you gave, which is eloquent, perfect, well put together, might not, be the best for you. Because I'm always looking for that authenticity in interviews.
Mm. I have a question to you, Miss Denise naman, personal note naman. Is this a technique ba talaga from other hiring or recruiters na I've experienced dati na parang galit siya, parang ginagalit ka niya.
I personally don't
Technique ba
practice.
'yun?
I don't practice that, John Mark, but I've heard other companies doing that maybe probably a decade ago, wherein they play bad cop, good cop. Someone will be nice in the interview and someone will be sort
Oo.
of unapproachable so that they know how you would react to pressure. So if,
Oh,
I always say do it with grace, right? Like if they make you wait, just communicate properly. If you have another, schedule towards the day, even though it's not what you agreed on initially, sometimes they're testing if you're patient enough, if you want
yeah.
this really. And, there are different obstacles that you might find unnecessary, but communication is key. Just try to say that I only have 3 hours today for this interview. I can't wait for the entire day, and do it with grace, right? Because sometimes that's what they're testing. Can you actually push back? Because a lot of jobs right now require, client consulting, when you have to say no to a client. And if you can't say no for, during the interview, then it might be hard for you to actually say no to a client. So, think about those things, and they're testing more of your soft skills, not just your technical skills. And soft skills for me are equally important as your technical skills.
Ayan guys, so watch out, may mga I think parang technique nga 'yun 'no, yung parang aanuhin ka nila kausap na magagalit ka, pero tine-testing ka lang nila kung paano ka pala mag-react 'pag alam mo 'yun, kung magagalit ka ba, makikipagsagutan ka sa kanya. Ayun guys, watch out, you may possibly encounter that type of interviewer din siguro, 'di ba?
Hopefully wala nang ganon. John Mark. I think there are better ways to actually test a candidate, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. No, if you can actually be unapproachable without triggering anyone, 'di ba? Parang if you want
Hmm,
to make it very formal, that's also an option. Pero yung pushing someone to their limit, maybe that's a bit much. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
ayan. Yeah, now we go to hinimay na talaga, step 5. Ito question to you, Miss Denise. Ano yan, who do you think is the ano, for you, sa ating mga friends sa LinkedIn, locally, sino yung pinaka-active na nakikita mo? Ayan, sa
Um,
LinkedIn.
Before si Virginia, so I really follow her. I watch a lot of her videos. She's very generous when it comes to networking and sharing her knowledge about LinkedIn. I see Gina Romero is actually
Hmm.
doing that, and also reaching out to different communities. It's not just online, but also physical, because I see her in Cavite. I see her, even
Ah,
abroad, doing that. And we also have people like Raymond. Raymond, I think Victorino is sharing a lot about his HR expertise. Very, very generous. Dean Pax Lapid is also inspirational. I don't know if you've seen some of his posts. So a lot of those guys I really follow.
ayan, oo. Oo nga, kay Raymond, yeah, aside from you, the funny thing with Raymond is, the great thing about with Raymond is it's just all text and parang
Yes.
story. Ang lakas niya dun. Shoutout to Raymond 'pag napanood mo 'to.
Hi, Raymond.
Oo. Yeah, 'di ba ang
Yes.
galing. Hindi lang pala video, 'di ba they were saying SEO video, ah, text can be powerful din pala to ano, 'di ba, to
Text
have
and also
conversations.
pictures. I think Charlene Lucas naman, on the other hand, she likes posting pictures of herself and then putting a story, which is, I think, also very powerful because it captures your attention right away.
Ayan. Yep, any questions there, out there still? But of course, for the replay, ayan, 'pag may time, I'm sure 'pag nakita ni Miss Denise yung mga questions niyo sa comment section, after this, she may probably, possibly respond din, 'di ba?
Honestly, John Mark, I receive a few messages already on LinkedIn asking me to review some of their profiles. So some of you
Hmm,
guys already said yes to the challenge. So I'm gonna be doing that as promised. I'm gonna be endorsing your skills if I see that that's already included in your profile. So I'm gonna do that in the coming days to make sure everything is sorted there.
ayan. May questions pa ba kayo? If not, announcements na tayo, from Miss Denise and Enrico, if you want to make some announcements.
We I personally don't have any announcements. I'm just happy to be here after 2 years. John Mark, thanks for having me again. So 2 years ago, we talked about employee engagement. Now we're talking about, recruitment and using LinkedIn. And as we all know, recruitment has changed drastically because of the pandemic. So before, you would need to go to different offices, you would need to meet face to face. Right now you can do that online. So a lot of the tips that we shared with you are actually geared towards that hybrid approach. So again, I issued a challenge earlier. Like, if you updated your profile, added the information that's needed there, make sure that your contact info is actually updated, appropriate, and you follow, certain companies and added your skills and you have your education and also your internship experience, send me a message. I'll be happy to look at your profile. I'll be giving you honest feedback as promised, and I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of days. So, if you need a day or so to do that, that's absolutely fine. So I always advocate for LinkedIn. I think it's a good networking platform, and I invite everyone to follow LinkedIn Local Philippines, because I think John Mark and the team behind LinkedIn Local are really doing a good job making sure that the community gets value from this platform. So thanks again, John Mark.
Yay! And of course, guys, I pasted down the link to for you to connect with Miss Denise. Ayan. Also, yeah, we're excited for you, Enrico. As well, alam mo naman, with like me and Miss Denise, 'di ba? We're always excited on how you're going to be in a few, 'di ba? In a few years. So hoping ikaw din, Enrico, mag-share ka din ng pag-master ka na ng mga something job, 'di ba?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Since bago pa lang ako and still new to this in the world of the corporate world, and still trying to learn. And then again, I'm also improving my profile, and eventually one day, I'll be able to join you guys and be sharing. Not share you guys, like I'll be sharing to everyone like my best, tips and practices, and like all of my experiences that I will be experiencing in the near future. So definitely, definitely.
Oo. Sana turuan mo din kami ng FL Studio in the near future.
Yep, pwede,
Ayun.
pwede. Pwede, like from beat making to mixing and to mastering
Yeah.
all in one, maybe. Can be
Awesome.
a course.
Tsaka 'di ba, Miss Denise, yun hindi niya masarap na feeling, together with me and Miss Denise, yung alam mo yun, Miss Denise, yung mga natulungan natin after, 'di ba? Tayong dalawa, I'm sure meron taong tumulong sa'yo, nagtiwala sa'yo, Miss Denise, 'di ba? Kaya
Yeah,
naging ganito ka
absolutely.
ngayon, 'di ba?
Absolutely. And I think, generosity should be a priority, right? Like, wala namang mawawala if we share our knowledge, if we share our expertise. Actually, it can empower other people and help them, ascend in whatever organization or goals that they have. So it's always good to say yes to opportunities like this. And again, thank you for having us today, John Mark. And this is something that's also very special to us, very helpful to us.
Oo. Tsaka nakakataba ng puso yun, Miss Denise, 'di ba, when someone compliments you after many, many years. "Uy, si Miss Denise yung nag-propel ng career opportunity for me," 'di ba? Sarap nun. And gano'n din sana kayo, guys, in the near, future. And yes, I do believe na aside from education, 'di ba, Miss Denise, one of the greatest gift is having a job or giving a person, a living, a job po. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Nandun yung decency eh. I mean, you
Mm.
provide that kind of decency for that human being. And not just any job. Like what I was saying earlier, when you're using LinkedIn to look for a job that's actually matching your skills, matching your beliefs, matching your core values, right? Because there are really good companies out there who will help you with your, future.
Ayan. So with that, thank you so much, Miss Denise, Enrico, and as
Thank you.
always, sana po nakatulong kami. We get to inspire you, and yes, feel free to reach out to Denise, Enrico, and me if ever may questions kayo or may katanungan. May it be love life daw. Nakakaapekto din daw sa trabaho yun eh.
Parang malayo yun sa LinkedIn topic natin. I don't know if I can help there. Maybe Enrico. So
No comment.
Yeah, but of course, definitely career-wise, ayan, we're here to help you, and we're very excited for everyone's success in their own careers. Ayan. Thank you so much. Have a blessed afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Miss Denise.
Thank you. Thank you, John Mark.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Enrico. See you
Thank you.
soon.
Bye.
At ayun nga pala, before I forget, our winner pala for the LinkedIn Business Premium raffle draw is Dan Lemuel Pajarillo. So, yep, congratulations to you. Please connect with me or message me in LinkedIn for you to claim your prize. Once more, congratulations. Thank you so much to Enrico and Miss Denise. Hoping we get to have a repeat in the near future po.
With TechSmith Camtasia, you can easily make amazing videos and screencasts. Starting a new project is simple. Record your desktop with Camtasia's built-in screen recorder, or bring in your own video files. Drag and drop animated backgrounds, intros, and more from the Camtasia library. And with just a few clicks, you can change the colors and fonts to match your style and branding. Make your video stand out with visual effects like animations, cursor highlights, device frames, then add a final touch with callouts, professional graphics, royalty-free music, and so much more. Now you have a professional video that gets results, and you saved time and money by creating it with Camtasia. Join the over 14 million trainers, marketers, and educators who use TechSmith Camtasia to easily create professional videos every day.